I'm Laura with Creative Woman Kit of the Month Club. Today I'm going to show you how fun and easy it is to make this birdhouse wind chime. Supplies in the Creative Woman Birdhouse Wind Chime Kit include a handy instruction leaflet, a pre-assembled wooden birdhouse, rub-on transfers, 2 quality paintbrushes, 3 colors of acrylic paint, a pre-assembled wind chime, a cute pre-painted bluebird, a craft stick, and glue. You'll also want to have on hand some basic household supplies like a couple foam or paper plates, an old toothbrush, scissors, a few toothpicks, a couple sheets of scrap paper, several paper towels, and a cup of water. If when you're finished you would like to waterproof your birdhouse, then you'll want to have on hand some matte sealer too. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to paint the roof first with the blue paint. So the first thing we need to do is open up the little tub of blue. And as you can see, it's a little bit separated. That's pretty typical with acrylic paint, and it's easy to fix. With a toothpick, all you need to do is just stir up the paint and get it nicely blended. When you're ready to paint, you can either dip the brush directly into the paint pot, or you can pour a small puddle onto your plate. We'll begin by painting the roof with the flat brush. This is also called base coating. We're going to use the brush with the flat tipped bristles. So with your blue paint and nice even strokes, just thoroughly cover the roof of the birdhouse. It's important when you're shopping for brushes that you don't just buy the cheapest one you can find, but that you buy a good quality brush. A good quality brush will give you a much nicer finish on your craft projects and will last a lot longer too. We're very picky about the brushes we put in Creative Woman Kit of the Month Club, and we make sure we always buy good quality brushes with nice bristles. You'll probably want to do more than one coat of color on this project. A couple of thin coats of paint are a lot better than one thick coat. You might think that one thick coat will go a lot quicker, but in the end, 2 thin coats of paint will give you a much better finish on your project, whereas one thick coat can oftentimes get kind of bumpy and uneven. When you're finished painting the roof, rinse your brush in a cup of clean water. Bounce it up and down a little bit to make sure you get out all the paint. When you think the paint is out, then you want to blot the brush on some clean paper towels. This will make sure your brush is clean and also squeezes out any excess water. Always make sure you do this anytime you're going to be changing colors. After we've finished with the roof, now we're going to paint the sides yellow. You'll want to do 2 or 3 coats of the yellow paint to make sure you cover up the wood grain. While you're waiting for the birdhouse to dry, it's the perfect time to add a little color to your dangle. So I'm going to paint my dangle yellow. That way it matches the sides of the birdhouse. Lastly, we'll paint the base green. Make sure the sides and the roof are completely dry before you start painting, because you'll be touching those areas as you hold the birdhouse. If they're a little bit wet, you'll get smudges. If you're like me, you always end up with a couple little spots of paint in the places they don't belong. So this is a good time just to go in and just touch them up. Once the paint dries, you're ready to add decorative rub-on transfers. First thing we need to do is cut apart the rub-on transfers. We have 2 long borders here and then individual decorative transfers here. So let's cut these apart. This border is really ideal for putting around the very base of the birdhouse. And in order to get the transfers as close to the base as you can, you'll want to trim away this extra white space here. While you're cutting the transfers, be thinking about where you want to put them on the birdhouse. We've given a number of examples in the leaflet, but with anything creative, you get to choose. To apply the rub-on design, simply remove the paper backing from the transfer and place it firmly on the birdhouse where you want it, sticky side down. Once you're happy with where it's placed, just kind of put your finger on it to warm the transfers a little bit. You can just press it gently into place. Next, you're going to take your craft stick and set the birdhouse down on a firm surface, and you want to firmly and evenly rub the craft stick over the entire rub-on design. Once you've done that, very carefully peel off the backing. If you notice that some of the transfer is not coming off, like right here, it's not transferred onto the birdhouse, just carefully press it back down, and with your stick, rub that area a little bit more to make sure that transfer releases from the sheet. When you think you're ready, you just very carefully peel the sheet off. You can add many of the rub-on transfers to the sides and the front and even the back of the house. Rub-on transfers are great to use in crafting. They add a lot of color and detail, and they're very handy when you don't want to paint that detail yourself. Make sure you save one of the larger transfers to add to the dangle. Next, if you'd like, you can add extra design details with your liner brush. Details like lines, stripes, polka dots, and swirls. Before you paint on your birdhouse, however, be sure to practice that detail painting on scrap paper first. Details are painted with a liner brush. Let's first paint a line. When painting details, hold the liner brush perfectly perpendicular to the painting surface in order to achieve a clean, precise line. Dip just the tips of the bristles into your paint. You can also try making wavy lines. Let's paint some swirls next. With a little practice, painting swirls is easy to do. Swirls give projects a touch of whimsy. Start in the center and drag the tip of the brush around in a circle to make a spiral. The more pressure you apply to the brush, the wider the swirl lines will be. Next, we'll make some dots. Simply dip the handle of either brush into your paint. Holding your brush perpendicular to the surface, dab the handle tip down. If you continue dabbing dots, you'll see the dots get smaller. If you want the dots to be the same size, you'll need to dip your handle back into the paint after every couple of dots. Lastly, let's practice spattering paint. Grab that old toothbrush and get ready to do some paint splattering. Dip your toothbrush into water first. Tap the brush to remove excess water. Then dip the wet bristles into the paint. But don't put too much paint on the toothbrush. Now, hold the toothbrush bristles over the area you want spattered. Run your finger or a craft stick along the bristles, spattering pieces with paint. You might try spattering the birdhouse roof with yellow paint. It looks really cute. See how easy that was? Now you're ready to paint those details onto your birdhouse. Now we're ready to add the final touches, the bird and the chime. First, we'll glue the bird to the bottom of the birdhouse. You can also glue it near the perch or wherever you'd like. Squeeze a small amount of glue onto the birdhouse, then carefully set the bird in the glue. You'll need to hold it in place until it starts to set, then set it aside to dry. If you'd like a quicker solution, you can also use a hot glue gun because the glue sets up a lot quicker. And while that's drying, we'll trim the loop on the top of the wind chime right up against the knot. Be careful not to cut into the knot. Then we'll place a heavy bead of glue on the top of the knot and attach the wind chime to the underneath side of the birdhouse. You will need to allow ample time for the glue to dry before hanging your birdhouse wind chime. Again, you can use hot glue for this step if you'd prefer. And here's our completed project. Now you can use it to decorate your house inside or out. If you're going to hang it outside, be sure to spray or brush on that clear matte sealer to protect it from the elements. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you had fun and are inspired to be creative. If you would like to receive this kit and additional craft kits from Creative Woman Kit of the Month Club, call our toll-free number 800-282-6643, or you can log on to our website, creativewomanclub.com. Until next time, be creative and happy crafting.